Did you know that throwing food away is illegal in Seattle? Yes, you heard it right. This bustling tech hub is also leading the way in food conservation and waste management. Seattle, like many other cities, is grappling with the challenge of waste management. But what sets it apart is its innovative approach to tackling food waste. The city has taken a bold step, making it illegal to throw away food. This is not just about being eco-friendly, it's about acknowledging the value of food, recognizing that every morsel matters, and taking responsibility for our actions. Now let's delve a bit deeper into why Seattle has taken such a step. The city is well aware of the fact that food production takes a significant toll on our environment, consuming precious resources like water and energy. By throwing food away, we're not just wasting the food itself, but also the resources that went into producing it. This is where Seattle's law comes into play, aiming to encourage its residents to think twice before they toss their leftovers into the bin. But what happens if you violate this law? Well, Seattle isn't playing around. If your rubbish contains more than 10% food or compostable paper, you could be slapped with a fine. For residents, the fine might seem small, but for businesses, it can be substantial. The goal here isn't to punish, but to educate and encourage better habits. And it's not just about fines. Seattle offers composting facilities and encourages its residents to compost their food waste. The city believes in turning waste into resource, transforming discarded food into nutrient-rich compost that can be used to enrich soil and grow more food. So next time you're in Seattle, remember to eat your leftovers or compost them. This city is on a mission to reduce waste, conserve resources, and create a sustainable future. And you, as a visitor or a resident, have a vital role to play in this mission. Remember, it's not just about following the law, it's about making a difference, one plate at a time. Speaking of food, did you know some produce in the US is too ugly to sell? Yes, it's true. Some fruits and vegetables are deemed too misshapen or discolored to grace our grocery store shelves, but they're just as nutritious and delicious as their more aesthetically pleasing counterparts. This brings us to our next surprising food fact. Did you know that sound can influence the taste of your food? Researchers have found that the sound of your surroundings can affect how you perceive the flavor of what you're eating. If you're in a noisy environment, your food might actually taste less sweet or less salty than it really is. So, next time you're dining out, you might want to consider the restaurant's ambiance and noise level before ordering that dessert. Now let's take a leap from Earth to space. In 2015, astronauts aboard the International Space Station ate red romaine lettuce that was grown in space for the first time. This was a significant milestone in the quest for sustainable food production during long space missions. Imagine enjoying a salad made from lettuce that was grown in zero gravity. And speaking of lettuce, here's a fun fact. Did you know that hot chocolate tastes better out of an orange cup? Yes, you heard that right. According to a study, the color of the cup can influence the perceived flavor of the beverage. Participants in the study reported that hot chocolate tasted better when served in an orange or cream-colored cup, as compared to a white or red one. We've also got a fact for the pizza lovers out there. The original margherita pizza was color-coded. It was created to represent the colors of the Italian flag: red tomatoes, white mozzarella cheese, and green basil leaves. Who knew food could be so patriotic? Isn't it fascinating how food is not just about taste, but also about perception, environment, and even color? Switching gears, did you know the Firefox logo isn't a fox? It's actually a red panda. It's a common misconception, as the red panda is often called a firefox in English. Speaking of misconceptions, you might think that Google's headquarters is just full of tech and software, but they also rent out goats. Yes, you heard that right. Google rents goats from a company called California Grazing to help cut down the amount of weeds and brush at Google HQ. Now let's turn back the clock a bit and talk about the first ever VCR. You might be picturing something that fits snugly under your TV, but the first VCR was actually the size of a piano. It's hard to imagine lugging that around, isn't it? And while we're on the topic of size, let's talk about data. A petabyte is a lot of data. In fact, it's so much data that if you were to store a petabyte of music on CDs, the stack of CDs would be taller than the Eiffel Tower. Now let's talk about something that might be a little unsettling. Alexa, Amazon's virtual assistant, is always listening to your conversations. While Amazon assures us that Alexa only records and stores what follows the wake word, it's still an interesting, if not slightly unnerving, fact. Did you know that the first computer mouse wasn't made from plastic but from wood? It was invented by Douglas Engelbart in 1964, and it was radically different from what we're used to today. And finally, let's touch on something that's a little more fun. The original Xbox console had sound snippets of real space missions. They were used to create a more immersive gaming experience and were an Easter egg for those who were aware of their origin. Technology is full of surprises, isn't it? Wow, we've covered a lot of surprising facts today. Let's take a moment to revisit some of the most astonishing ones. Who would have thought that in Seattle, throwing food away is not just frowned upon, but it's actually illegal? It's a unique approach to waste management, illustrating their commitment to sustainability. Then there's the intriguing relationship between sound and food. It's fascinating to think that the music you're listening to could potentially alter the taste of your meal. It's like having a secret ingredient playing in the background. And let's not forget about our tech revelations. Many of you might have been surprised to know that the Firefox logo, contrary to popular belief, isn't a fox. It's actually a red panda, a fiery creature that perfectly represents the browser's spirit. Next time you throw away food, listen to music while eating or look at the Firefox logo. Remember these surprising facts. Don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating information.